finally, the fourth thing we're working on. Last night on radio and with the leaders, I was equating this with the human body. Now I don't have time to. You need to listen to our teaching of last night. You will see that what I'm saying here is equally how your body functions. And by the way, when you have infrastructure, you should also, there is the road infrastructure, but there is the soft infrastructure, which is, for example, enforcement of rules and regulations. You know that traffic officer you see on the road and you pass him? Or someone who does the wrong thing and he's not touchable? So, me use a basic example. If in Kampala, when the traffic jam is high, we have Kadeng. We drive on the pavements, okay? When we drive on the pavements, the ambulance comes, then it is followed by other cars also going through. Everybody is breaking the rules, but enforcement is limited. So the standards require enforcement. And if we don't have enforcement, I use that example of traffic, but you should know that many people, even in private sector, they pay money to bribe officers to pass a consignment, yet inside there is cocaine, as an example. There is drugs. So we have to act together as a community and say the cassava from Bukedi is the best in the world because we have standards, we comply, we enforce. If you mess us up, we deal with you harshly, everybody can see. The things I mentioned require discipline. Do you know the meaning of the word discipline? I don't have time, read it. The word discipline and the word disciple, they grow from the same soil. It means that you cannot be disciplined unless you are a disciple of something higher. You discipline yourself, you restrain yourself because you have something higher than basic happiness. You want your community to get better. And therefore you follow the rules. So the final one is that when the market gives you opportunity, you develop a standard and you comply. You've put some basic infrastructure. You need the oil called credit funding for exports. I know that so far some of you may be asking, but why is Ruabogo focusing on exports? Why don't we focus on the market we have here in Tororo? Absolutely fantastic. Focus on that market. But the returns in exports are 10, 15 times. Plus, if you are able to sell outside, the domestic market is nothing. Plus, when you are able to sell your products outside, you help stop importation of products that we are able to produce and package. So a business that exports is completely different. An entrepreneur who exports is disciplined, standardized, knows what he's doing. So when you've done these three things, gentlemen and ladies, we found that there's no way we can compete with the Chinese because they go to the Chinese People's Bank, agricultural bank. They have an agricultural bank, they have a cooperative bank, they have a trade bank, call it a merchant bank. They take money at 2% interest rate. They have gotten an order in Uganda. They supply it. You get an order in China. You go to Standard Bank, Standard Chartered, or any bank, I'm using them as an example, you pay 19%. And when you are asking for that loan, they will say, where is the marriage certificate of your first wife? Have you divorced officially or... But I am looking for money to sell tomatoes to Kenya. What has that got to do with my marriage? Because they are trying to protect themselves. They are risk averse. So we thought, if someone gets an order for cabbages, as an example, he has to pay farmers instantly. But the other person who has bought will pay in 60 days. What do you do in between? We are thinking of introducing an export credit fund. We've called it the Trade Frontier Fund. The president has supported the start-off with coffee. You may have seen in the newspapers people insulting Ruabogo, but what we did is, you coffee people, we don't live on coffee alone. We must put that money in one fund so that we take an instrument. An instrument in finance means that I have insured money here. I go and raise other money from outside. You look in this presentation, UNDP is going to give us some more money. Institutions are seeing that some people are beginning to think and get organized. and we need to help them. But there are some institutions which say if they are beginning to think, remember the Lugard story I told you? Kyalaba, kireke kyatalaba, kitwale kikyo. Some institutions in alliance with our foreign friends wants to keep us blind. Because if we have money and we can process coffee here, and you can, I didn't introduce Achebet. Huh? Achebet, stand up. This young lady is from Kapchorwa. Her company is called Masha Coffee. I have gone with her to Britain, to many places, and I have brought journalists quietly. You know the journalists who you get in Uganda? They are the ones talking about FDC and RMA, they don't tell you, you don't have a food safety law. They are telling you all sorts of things in the world, but really what you need, they don't know. What do I mean by learning to work together? We may have disagreements, but they should be principled disagreements. Huh? A principled disagreement is based on an economic interest. It's not based on the borders of the district. It's not based on tribe or religion. Huh? When we cooperate and work together, we should build consortiums. The other term for a consortium is a cooperative. Right? But sometimes when you say cooperative, you have a sense of we are only supplying the local market. When we say consortium, these things, including this credit funding, you come as one group. Huh? Last night I told the leaders, it is good to do multi-cropping. It is good to have many crops. I want to encourage you to do. But sometimes multi-cropping does not allow you to scale. If you have one product that you all can put your eyes to, you don't stop these other ones for food and domestic market, but you have ones which you aim at to sell, you will be like the people of South Africa in Western Cape who have sold wine for the last 150 years, and all they do is vines. Their interest is the seeds of the vines. They began with vines. They eventually ended up in the industry of making bottles and cups and glasses. Eventually, they went into design, just based on wines and packaging. Huh? Eventually, they set up a wine university. And now they take 100 million liters of wine into Europe, and that money comes to the region called Western Cape. You're telling me we can't focus on something in Bukedi and just drive it to that standard so that our children can now act better? You only do that if you cooperate and you have a consortium. I don't have time to really share that with you. My colleagues will do. So you'll see in this, the 13 products we're focusing on. You check which one we would focus on. As I will give you the paper, don't worry. And what I want you to do is to agglomerate. The word agglomeration is a consortium brings us together. When you agglomerate and put things together, then warehouses come up. Then the lab that the chairman is asking comes. Then transportation of a refrigerated truck comes. Then buyers, because in UK alone in the last 1 year, we have reached 1,500 buyers. But we are looking for Ugandan sellers. We don't have them. The sellers we have on our catalog are 60 companies. Britain, 1,500. They are demanding all this. Huh? So when we agglomerate, it means that we begin to act together with a stronger punch on those 13 products. I also want you to know that you need to, when you do what I'm discussing with you, you strengthen the work of PDM. So you've had Bonabagagawale. Didn't we have that? Then we had Plan for Modernization of Agriculture. Then we had NADS. Then we had OWC. I am sure those programs have left here and there some change in whatever way. Because when the chairman asked for tractors, I want you to know that our total requirement annually for tractors, 175,000 tractors. Because Uganda has 6.9 million hectares of arable land. Uganda has 45 million people, but it can feed 200 million people. So last night I shared with the leaders, don't worry about population increase if you are doing something with those lands, agglomerating, making those differences. You know how many tractors we are aiming at or what we have in the country? Around 5,000. So, are you not seeing the connection to the problem? How many vehicles do we import and motorbikes per year? Go and check. We even appoint some people to go to Japan and check that cars coming to Uganda are good. So I said, why don't you appoint people who go to Japan to say, the coffee we sell is good? Why are you setting up structures only to consume other people's things? But this new thinking is fault. People don't understand us. And so me, I have a burden. And I have people who know that and what to do. And we're going to push on because our total target, God willing, in 5 years is we want USD 6 billion, which is Uganda shillings 22 trillion, new money coming into our country from understanding the market and standards and the things I mentioned. How will you increase tractor usage if you don't come together and cooperate on principles? Yes, Chairman. I will go and speak to the Honorable Minister, to the Permanent Secretary. We will pursue tractors coming here. But the issue is not tractors. They will come and some of them will rot at the district headquarters or parts taken out. So, before you get a tractor, first get what it will do in a very organized way as a system and put a system to run it. That's why NADS gave tractors, but they said tractors are with individuals. Because if there is nobody responsible for the tractor and all of us are responsible, nobody is held accountable. Nobody services it. Nobody. That, for me, is a thing you need to work on. Strengthen your voice in a parish development model because you have a market. Because otherwise, if you have money and you produce anything and young people need jobs and these things are not sold, people will cut them and go to other things. We need to focus on what the market has asked for. And that's why I brought people who have been to the market to tell you the story themselves. Thank you very much. God bless you.
I'd like to hear from you. Please email us at info@tapmedia.com and visit our website at www.tapmedia.com. You can also visit our offices located at Tomosi Business Park, Luzira, Port Bell Road, or call 0414 220 702. Thank you.